It's no surprise Detroit once again tops the FBI's list of most dangerous cities in the country. The stunning number of murders, robberies, and carjackings put the Motor City at the #3 spot this year. But it's a deadly reputation that many residents are determined to change. More and more of them are getting concealed carry permits, learning how to use a firearm, and ready and willing to use it. And their police chief, James Craig, stands behind them 100%. Plus, as he told me, it's making a difference because the word is on the street. Take a look.
Something that I never thought would happen. You get a phone call, honey, I've been shot. That was devastating to me and definitely a wake-up call.
Everybody should have a firearm for personal protection.
Around here, if you don't have a gun, you're in trouble, definitely.
There are pockets where it is like a war zone. It's like Iraq and Afghanistan.
I carry my gun all the time. Like my American Express card, I don't leave home without it.
It's a little scary coming back after 27 years. I'm saddened to see the blight.
This street here, Kendall, seems to be a highway for drug people.
Somebody gets shot every day around here. B&Es, people driving their garage and they're accosted before they get out of the car.
In fact, the number of seniors that are caught up in the violence as victims is unlike anything I've seen. I found out early on that you call the police, they're not going to show up. A carjacking in this city was not considered an anomaly. Good Detroiters and good Americans have the absolute right to protect themselves, to protect their family. That citizen may have only one chance of survival. One chance in that split second.
Right here on pump #3 is where it happened at. I got out of the truck and I was going in and got to the door and turned around and looked, and the young man was already sitting in the driver's seat of my vehicle. I don't even know where he came from. So then I stopped and came back to the passenger side. And that's when he told me to get away from the vehicle, and he went to reach for his weapon. And that's when I pulled my weapon and fired one time. He took off that way out of the gas station, probably a block and a half away he crashed.
What happened to him?
He was dead.
You drive past that gas station where that happened. Does it all come back to you?
Yes. I try not to go that route too often because I never wanted to take anyone's life. It was a case of my life versus his life, because if I hadn't have fired my weapon, he probably would have killed me. Every day I thank God.
But what happened to Daryl is an all too familiar headline here in Detroit.
A brave mom takes aim to protect her family from home invaders busting down the door.
He wasn't going to sit back and just be a victim. He grabbed a gun.
And shots are fired.
3 homes, 3 owners, and 3 shootings all in 1 week.
Walk down any street in many of these neighborhoods and you see abandoned homes boarded up.
Abandoned homes are a big problem, a lot of criminal activity.
Some of these empty houses, yes, dead bodies were found.
They can be used as places where individuals can grab women and sexually assault them. They'll actually burn up the buildings to conceal their crime.
And just about everybody you talk to has a story to tell about how they or someone they know was robbed, assaulted, or carjacked.
I'm standing over here, and around the corner comes this fellow, about 25 years old, with a 9mm gun, snowmobile mask, and he looks at us and he says, "Give me your money or I'm going to shoot you."
You're gonna rob me in broad daylight in my own backyard? Nothing personal, I need money. That's about as personal as it gets for holding a gun on me.
He frisks us. David had $10, and he takes my cell phone with him. And out across the yard he went, turned around and said, "If you call the cops, I'm gonna come back and shoot up your house." I was just mortified.
I lost a brother due to violence. He was gunned down, and it's a senseless crime. I had a friend of mine, we was boxing together. He went for a jog one morning. Someone wanted to rob him, and they ended up shooting him, killed him.
Residents tell me they're fed up, but determined to take their city back. So more and more of them are getting concealed carry permits.
I have seen consistent, steady growth in attendance in our concealed pistol license training class, especially among senior citizens and women who never thought in their wildest dreams that they would become a gun owner.
My husband was an innocent victim. He went out late one night to get some dinner for my son. I went through the drive-thru, and he was shot 3 times. He survived. He did survive. So I decided to take this class because I will be purchasing a firearm to protect myself as well as my family.
That was the main thing. It was about 5:30 in the morning, and somebody's banging on your door, and then you go outside and see your car door open. They broke into about 7 other vehicles, and it's no secret that Detroit police will not show up for hours sometimes, or not show up at all. I have a son and a wife at home to protect, so I plan on defending myself vigorously until police arrive.
And Police Chief Craig tells me it's working, that they're sending a clear message to criminals.
Don't do it. It's no secret. Those who are law-abiding citizens who happen to have a concealed weapon will use it.
And I think that's one of the best things that can be said, because now the criminal have to think twice about going to someone's house, because they may be armed too.
I salute Police Chief Craig. A lot of people don't believe that he should be saying what he's saying.
Armed, law-abiding citizens can be a deterrence to violent crime. Law-abiding citizens are responsible. That is their right.
It's out of the norm of what you would think to hear from a police chief of anybody to say, hey, I support you 100% to be legally armed and defend yourself.
It's made a difference. The criminals know it. Because there's two things that I found very different in the city of Detroit. One, why would so many criminals wear body armor? But also the fact that on occasion, the suspects, when they find a victim, sometimes would make the victim disrobe. No doubt, they're certainly afraid of the law-abiding citizen with a gun.
What do you say to those people who say, what do you need a firearm for? Just call 911.
The situation that I was in, I think it lasted all of 10 seconds. The police, even if I had to call them, they wouldn't have made it there in time.
As my critics would say, well, there he goes. He's promoting vigilantism. This is about life. It's not realistic to think, suspect with the gun pointed at me. Can you hold on a minute? I need to make this phone call. It sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. And so I say to my critics, the conversation shouldn't be about law-abiding citizens. It should be about the criminals.
Every time I tell somebody I'm from Detroit, they say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We do nothing but read about the violence going on. And I tell them, you know what, it's gonna turn around.
I see people having a can-do attitude and more involved in their personal protection. They're refusing to quit.
I think that more people that are legally armed in Detroit can make a difference in the city.
We do have the right to bear arms, and it's really a God-given freedom.
We still have a ways to go to really drive down violence in our city. But we're going to get there. This is a good time to be home.
It's rough, but if you love your city, you'll stick it out.
I love the city. I wouldn't give it up for the world. I was born and raised here. We will come back, without a doubt.
Gotta look after our future. Let's do it, Detroit.
I love Detroit. I never moved out because everyone likes a fighting city. Detroit is a fighting city, and we're fighting to come back.